Hey David, welcome. I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. Been a long week, but yeah, this weekend's been good so far. Got a little more work to do tonight after we're done here, but yeah, doing okay. I hope all of y'all are doing okay too. You mean they weren't showing up in the YouTube chat log? I very rarely go back and watch my videos, but let me see. Doesn't look like I can see it on my mobile device. Let me go to my YouTube channel here. You know, actually, if I try and scroll through this here on my PC while I'm doing this, the sound is probably going to get picked up here as well. So, I'll check it. I'll go back to older videos and check it here, and see if it's displaying the YouTube chat log or not. It should be. I'm looking at the live chat here in YouTube Studio while we're going, but things could be messed up a little bit on that front. So I'll take a look at it and see, but thank you for letting me know, David. I appreciate it. Welcome, everyone, to today's live stream, episode number 49 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Paladin gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, nothing new on admin notes. So, on our recap, last week was an eventful episode for Astarion, in that we almost entirely completed his questline. Well, I guess technically we did complete his companion questline, but there's still one more thing that we need to do here to finish it out. And we're going to do that today. And then we're going to move on to our last companion quest that is not part of the main storyline. And that has to do with Gale, the Wizard of Waterdeep quest. So let's go ahead and jump in here and we'll pick up where we left off with Astarion's questline. Hey Ostermura, welcome. Hey Tord, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Okay, so here we are making our way out of Cazador's dungeon. And on our way out, we are going to have an encounter here. If you remember our questline, the Gur that we had first met with Gandrel way back in Act 1 at the tea house, and then continued in Rivington at their camp, they had talked to us about killing Cazador. And due to Astarion's choices to ascend, the Gur children, who were already turned into vampire spawn, were some of the souls that were sacrificed as part of the ritual for Astarion to ascend. And if you have to guess, Ulma is probably not going to be happy about that. So we're going to break our group, and we're going to take Astarion forward here.
I had hoped to avoid this path. I had hoped you would choose the better road. A fool I was to ever hope a beast like you could be saved.
Oh, please. There's no need for such language. You wanted Cazador dead, and now he is. I even killed a few thousand spawn whilst I was at it. You should be thanking me for saving you the trouble. No. There's no working with the likes of them. Look at the hate in their eyes.
We gave you a choice, and you chose power, as your kind always does. But I still have hope for you, that you will make a better choice. Will you stand against evil? Will you help us destroy this monster? There is not.
My dear, I wouldn't want it any other way.
Kill them. Kill them all.
Okay. Hey, Rudy. Welcome. Thanks for being here. So, yeah, obviously, Alma is upset about the whole thing. She has brought some Gur reinforcements here with her. Things are not going to go well for them, obviously. But let's go ahead and move in here and start dishing out some damage here with Astarion. And we're going to start over here. I was hoping to land a crit before that. Okay, there's our next crit. I'll move over here. So the detection cones here are a little bit messed up, but they're messed up to our advantage. The three people up front seem to be blocking somehow all the detection cones of the people behind them. So if you kill all three of the people up front, then all of these detection cones will spread out and this whole area will get covered. And for some reason, the ones up front, their detection cone only moves out here and stops before it hit the stairs. So it's best to leave at least one person up here alive. That way you can maneuver your other characters into combat here.
Keep going.
And sometimes they're a little buggy. So it may drop me into combat here in a second anyway, but we'll see. Okay, one thing I need to do, it was reminded me by M in the comments, is I need to swap back out the cloaks here. So I have my Paladin outfitted like he should be. Okay, yeah, I need to have Great Weapon Master turned on for all of those. I keep
Ready.
forgetting to do it.
Unseen. Best step softly.
Okay, yeah, there you saw the detection cones kind of being weird. Again.
Let's get this
So it looks like the detection cones are back. Yep. I'll try and walk around this one, but again, sometimes these get a little buggy here during this, so... I prefer to get rid of the Menica here. Jeez. Come on. So many additives to hit there. Good thing she went after Shadowheart. Okay, so now let's do as much mopping up as we can here. Let's switch to...
My faith will protect me.
How many hit points left? 9. Let's see if we can swap to Shadowheart here.
Heading there.
Time to push
Now we'll use our bonus action here. And that.
Concentrate.
The lance board is set.
This isn't going to go well for you. We might as well throw in an Ascendant Bite here. Get him the happy trait.
Blood comes easy these days.
And we should be able to finish this off here. 70% chance with Great Weapon Master all in. I don't need it.
Oh, that was very, very satisfying. Who better to test these new powers on?
Okay, so
And who better to be standing by my side than you, who helped me get them?
you can see Astarian's voice lines have taken on a decidedly different slant to them. And you're going to notice that throughout here as we go. How his conversations have changed.
Worth a rummage?
Okay, and last we'll search Ulma here. And Ulma has a camp chest key, which we can go look at, but also Undead Bane. Undead Bane does not deal necrotic damage. That 1d4 is coming from Astarion. It has Slay the Wicked, though. This weapon deals an additional 1d6 slashing damage against fiends and undead, which is certainly good. Like I say, a 1d6 additional bonus damage writer is hard to come by in the game. The real thing about it, though, is Profane Scourge. Once per short rest, you add your proficiency bonus to the damage roll, which is where that +4 piercing comes from on the damage list. However, if you hit a fiend or undead creature, you deal an additional 2d6 piercing damage, which is the bottom line up there, which is conditional, and possibly Bane the target for 3 turns. And we know what Bane is. It's a -1d4 to attack rolls and saving throws. And you can use this once per short rest. So it is a nice great axe to use. But at this point in Act 3, you really have a bunch of other things that you're using in place of it. So
not as bad as it could have.
So now,
Don't waste
a
step.
couple of things. We can head up the dais real quick.
The elevator lies ready to carry you back up to the palace.
Hey, Lord Henry, welcome. And this one in honor mode is cutscene based. Cutscene based ones you don't have to worry about glitching through. It's the ones that are not cutscene based that move that you have to worry about in honor mode. So this one's is fine to take even in honor mode. And now this is your chance to go through, if you would like, and loot everything in the Szarr Palace. There's not going to be anybody left in here now to mind what you're doing. So if you head out here and look around, you're going to see that Vardarola and all of the servants have died. There is nobody now left inside the Szarr Palace, including any of the servants who used to be here. So if you want to go through and steal everything out of here, feel free. Remember, Astarion, this is now his palace, and he's going to be doing his vampire things from here, so I'm going to leave everything intact. I'll let him clean up the mess, though.
Here we go.
Okay, and now we need to do a couple of things. First, we need to head to camp, because remember I mentioned at the end of last week's episode that helping Astarion ascend is going to break your Paladin oath. And we need to deal with that, because right now we're fairly limited on what we can and can't do with some of our Paladin abilities. So we'll go over here, and here's the Oathbreaker Knight.
What's up for discussion?
Speak, Oathbreaker. I will hear you.
And there's a couple of options here. So if you wish to take up your oath
With
again,
each transgression, your burden grows, as does the price of redemption. You may still reclaim your oath, so long as you're willing to pay.
okay, and the oath is now up to 10,000 gold. So it becomes, like he says, harder and harder to reclaim your oath. The first time you do it, it's 1,000 gold. The second time you do it, I believe it's 2,000. The third time, which is what it is right now, is 10,000. So it's, like I say, a little bit harder. And I don't know actually if reclaiming your oath is based upon your paladin level or not. But either way, it doesn't matter, because we can't respec when we're an oath breaker, or when we've broken our oath. So, one way or another, you're stuck paying the 10,000 if you want to ever do a respec, or if you want to reclaim your oath because you have to reclaim your oath to be able to do that respec. So we're going to become an oath breaker.
For casting aside your oath, you will be reclaimed. This is your fate. Your right, Oathbreaker. May you wield the darkness well.
And now it's going to drop you into the subclass selection here. Now this is not a respec. You can see over there at the right, we still have all of our levels here. This is a little weird. This adds up to 13. Yeah, it's a little strange. We'll look at it once we're done here. But basically what it does is lets you take a look at, again, the things that are added as part of being Oathbreaker. We've talked about some of these before. With a channel oath charge, you can use Spiteful Suffering, which means that you can deal an additional 1d4 necrotic damage each turn, and attack rolls against it have advantage, and it lasts for 3 turns. This is a single target channel oath charge. You have Control Undead, so again, kind of melee range, but a little bit longer than melee range. You can use a channel oath charge to take control over an undead creature, and you control them just like anything else. They have to be the same level, or they must be lower level than you. They cannot be level 12. And Dreadful Aspect. So using a channel oath charge in a 9-meter radius around you, you can try and frighten enemies, which is, again, very, very useful. So in preparing our spells here, again, we're going to have access to some others that are going to pop up. So none of these I'm too worried about. And you'll notice that Sweet Stone features disappeared there. That's what we get from the True Hero of Baldur's Gate statue. However, it's not gone forever. It's going to be back once we take a long rest. But for now, you won't have it. It's not there. And that's, I think, probably a bug due to changing that big aspect of your character. So I wanted to look, yeah, that's what I thought. So we're still level 12. It was adding in that level 6 Paladin because it kind of treated that screen as a level up screen, even though it's not really a level up screen. So it was temporarily giving us a level 6 Paladin, but we're not. We're level 5. And you can see the additional things that we've got here. So Inflict Wounds is now available to us. There's Control Undead, there's Spiteful Suffering, there's Dreadful Aspect. We also have Crown of Madness available to us. So if we go to our spell book, now we have a couple of empty slots. And these spells here are always prepared. These are part of our Oathbreaker here. So good to have darkness for us here. Again, always prepared all of the time. We can throw in a couple of extra ones here, and Branding Smite is very nice, especially for something that's going to be coming up a little later. Heroism, we don't need. I'll put Searing Smite in here as well. Okay. And we are ready to head back out. Because there are some things that we can do really, because we don't need a lot of combat action economy for it. You can see that we're getting pretty low on our spells for some of our classes. But what we're going to need here, or what we're going to be doing for the next part, doesn't really require a lot of combat. There's a lot of puzzle solving here, but not necessarily a lot of combat. And for that, we're going to head to the lower city central wall. We're going to head right across the square. And our old friend Aradin from the Grove is waiting here.
Seems like a good moment to talk.
Let me back in. I'll bring Lorroakan out here, you tin tube. You tell Lorroakan I went for his goddamn night song, and now he has to pay up. What are you looking at? Shit, it's you. You went looking for the night song after me. Please tell me you found it. Anathema. Hells. If I'd known, I'd have asked for more gold. Kidnapping costs more than theft. Don't forget, I'm the one who gave you that contract. I want my cut. And I suppose you were stupid enough to kill her. Son of a bastard's whore. You had a small fortune in your grasp, and you let it go. I ought to knock some sense into you. But you know what? I'm too goddamn tired. If she's out there, I'm gonna find her. You mark my words.
So Aradin, being his usual hothead self, it's probably a good idea he stepped away from trying to knock some sense into us, because that would not have gone well for him. So here in front of us is Sorcerous Sundries. Now this is actually a very famous location in the Forgotten Realms lore. It actually exists, and a couple of things connected to this actually exist in the lore of Baldur's Gate 3 as well. In the lore of the Forgotten Realms as well. So let's go ahead and head in here. The first thing you see is a projection of Lorroakan.
Welcome, dear patron, to Sorcerous Sundries. I am an unperson in service of the revered wizard Lorroakan, proprietor of this fine establishment. To browse our wares, say trade. To provide information about the night song, say night song. If you are a city official here to collect dues, say taxes. For all other inquiries, say other.
Okay, we're going to start with trade.
What will it be?
Now, being Sorcerous Sundries, you would expect that there would be a large selection of scrolls, and there is. At one point or another, through leveling up or long resting and coming back here, you can have access to almost every scroll in the game through here. So you're going to see Scroll of Globe of Vulnerability. These are very, very useful before you go into the answer fight, especially on honor mode. So it's highly suggested that you come here first and stock up on these to be able to protect yourself during that fight. Scrolls of Hold Monster, which are always incredibly useful. Eye Bite, Chain Lightning. You have Conjure Elementals. All sorts of stuff, but you're also going to have Disintegrate. Now, Disintegrate is the highest damaging spell from a scroll in the game. And especially for Honor Mode, this can be incredibly useful. So here's another thing that when you get here, you start saving up your gold, or you've been saving it up through all 3 acts, and you get here and you start stocking up on these. Now, they're incredibly expensive. So, again, just like all of these are. So you definitely want to raise his attitude here when you go into this before you start purchasing any of those scrolls. However, on top of the scrolls, he does have a really good selection of magical items. Some of them which are necessary for certain builds. So the first thing he has, and the least impressive out of all of them, is the Harper Sacred Striker. It's a quarterstaff that's nothing special about it. The acid and fire damage are coming from me, so disregard that. The thing that makes it special is that you can cast a level 6 spiritual weapon with it. And that's a really strong spiritual weapon. So having it on you and allowing you to cast it can be useful. However, you're really... And instead of wasting a level 6 spell slot to cast spiritual weapon from Shadowheart, but still, it's not a great item to take up your main hand slot just to be able to cast that. However, Birthright, which is right next to it, is a very necessary part of a lot of builds. Your Sorcerer, Warlock, your Bard builds are going to be very, very... are going to benefit very, very much from this, because it ups your charisma by 2 up to a max of 22. So if you're sitting at 20 right now on your Bard, and you've gotten there through various means, even if you've gotten to 22 and you've used ability improvement to get there, you can now use Birthright to get yourself up to 22 and respec, and you get that free feat back and use it with something else in its place. So Birthright is a very, very good charisma boost to your charisma-based characters. Armor of Landfall is one of the 3 druid armor pieces. And this one specifically deals with Circle of the Land druids. So like all of them, you gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC. Here, whenever you start your turn on a plant growth or vine surface, you regain 1d4 hit points. That's very similar to what we saw the Woodwodes doing in the Broken Druid Circle in the swamp, where if they started their turn on vines, then they regenerated. They did a lot more than 1d4, and I wish this was buffed a little bit more in that respect. But that's what it does. It also gives you advantage of Constitution saving throw checks, which is nice for druids being able to maintain concentration on a lot of their AoE denial spells. And it allows you to cast Plant Growth once per short rest. Plant Growth is not a concentration spell, which is what's nice about it. Also, your movement speed is quartered, not halved, so it's double difficult terrain. But that's what the Armor of Landfall is, so if you're doing that Circle of the Land Druid, this might be the final piece in that type of build. The Vest of Soul Rejuvenation is one of the best monk armor pieces, or clothing pieces I should say, in the game. Whenever you succeed against a saving throw on a spell, you regain 1d4 hit points. That's certainly a great bonus to have. However, the Greater Kashigo counter is one of the important things here. And the wearer can use a reaction to make an unarmed strike against any attacker that misses. So this is like riposte for the fighter. It allows you to make a full power unarmed strike against an attacker that misses. And if you're able to combine this with something that gives you an additional reaction, you could do it twice. So this is something that when you get here, you kind of make your way here as a monk immediately to try and pick this up to better improve your combat damage output. The last thing is that it gives you armor class +2, and that's fairly unheard of from a piece of clothing. You can get a lot of them that give you armor class +1, but this gives you armor class +2, and that means you're basically starting out with studded leather armor, or no, you started out with hide armor for the armor class of that while you're still wearing clothing, which means that you're not losing your uninhibited defense bonus from your wisdom stat. So it's a really, really good piece of clothing for your monk class specifically to have. The Ring of Regeneration is very similar to the effect that goes on Baldur's Helm, where at the beginning of your turn, you get healed for 1d4 hit points. So a very good way to regain hit points. If you combine that with passing saving throws and gaining 1d4 hit points, you can regenerate a lot of hit points at the beginning of your turns or during your turns with it. And last is the Quick Spell Gloves. Cantrips that cost an action cost a bonus action instead. This effect can be used once per short rest. It's a toggleable ability, so you turn it on, and then, for instance, Frostbolt or Ray of Frost that would cost an action to use costs a bonus action. It's very similar to Quicken Spell, but it only works for cantrips, and it doesn't cost any sorcery points or anything, but you can only use it once per short rest. So a decent pair of gloves for your spellcaster classes. By this time you normally have glove slots that are better than this, but can be useful. So out of these, there is nothing that I really want out of these for this playthrough. My Paladin doesn't need to up his charisma anymore, just for the purposes of upping charisma. I get much more of a benefit out of the Helm of Baldur than I would out of Birthright by itself. So for your spellcasters, though, for Will in particular, or like I say, as a bard, the Birthright can be very, very useful. So for now, I'm going to leave all of these here. There's no reason for me to buy any of them. I could buy the Ring of Regeneration. It may fit in somebody's spell slot somewhere. I guess it could fit on Gale. You know, I guess I might as well go ahead and do that. Let's see if we can, and I'm again not caring about the gold. I should be going to sell this somewhere else and then coming back here, but I just simply don't care about gold at this point anymore. So let's clear out our inventory while we're here. $24.20. $24.40. Is there anything in here that's 1 gold? guess I can take out 2 and add in a cup. Oh, okay, I was looking at that, not that, so I still have a bit left here. Okay. Yep, and I left a dagger.
Soon.
So let's go drop this onto Shadowheart here, and we'll, or I mean on Gale. Okay. So now there's something else that we can also ask about here.
Welcome back to Sorcerous Sundries. How can I help you? The provision of information that leads to the retrieval of the Night Song is worth a great deal to Master Lorroakan. Do you have information regarding the Night Song? Please proceed upstairs for further instructions. Thank you. Please come again soon and have a magical day.
Okay, now normally that would update a quest. However, that quest is complete for us because the Night Song is dead. So we are going to head upstairs here in a little bit, but first we're going to take a look around here. Now there are various NPCs walking around. You can talk with all of them. They just have one-sentence responses. There are a couple of things though that you can look at. The first is around the corner here. There's a Mind Flayer Parasite specimen on the counter here. Now, to take this, you need to obscure yourself, and as soon as you take it, you need to fast travel out because the Flaming Fist will come in here looking to find out whoever stole. So you can cast a Strategic Darkness. Make sure you don't hit any of the NPCs when you cast it, or Fog Cloud doing the same thing, and pick it up if you'd like. I don't really need it, so I'm not too worried about it.
Why aren't they rationing anything?
And then back here at this spot is where we have a quest marker. And this is for Gale's quest line.
Which way to the nearest library?
Literature department. Can I help you? Shh. These books are sensitive. They prefer an environment of quiet reverence. Bold. You might have heard that our library has a collection other shops would lack the skill to curate. Between us, even Master Lorroakan was reluctant to house them in his tower. The pen is mightier than the magic wand, apparently. They're locked away here for their and our customers' safety. Our finest reserve includes the Tharkiat Codex, the Annals of Karsus and Netherese Folly, Sights of the Seelie, and the Curriculum of Strategy. Do any of those interest you?
There's a few here that interest us. First, we can trade with her. And again, you're going to have access to more scrolls here. So again, more Disintegrate scrolls. You will notice, well, this is because I started the conversation with Gale. But again, more of the same types of scrolls that you can get from the projection. So you can really, per level up, come in here. If you raise both of their attitudes to 100, you can really stock up on some really powerful scrolls here for the game. So if you want to make your way right here as soon as you get to Act 3, and blow as much gold as you possibly can on these scrolls, you certainly can.
How can I help you? What would you like to know?
Okay, we're here for the Annals of Karsus. However, we're here for all of these at one point or another to progress the quest, though, we need to ask about the Annals of Karsus.
It is said to be written by Lord Karsus himself, the Netherese arcanist who attempted to replace the goddess Mystra, failed, and was banished for the attempt. Great magical knowledge lies within those pages, but not many can withstand it.
The Annals of Karsus. Where better to learn the secrets of the crown than in the writings of the one who might have forged it?
Buy? Books as temperamental as these are not on sale. They are secured in our vault, where none can harm them, nor can they do any harm. Consider yourself lucky to have learned of such a book's existence, and then forget about it. The Annals of Karsus are best left unread.
Okay, now you're going to have some options here, and they're options that you are better off doing with your bard or your paladin here. We have a wizard persuasion option that gives us advantage on this check. However, the check is 40. I believe it's DC 18 or something like that. So again, it's better to be done with your paladin or your bard or somebody who's more skilled in that. So we're just going to say thank you. I've learned more than enough.
You certainly have. Even simple knowledge of these tones is enough to stimulate most.
And that's because we don't need the answer. If you pass that check, you learn that the way into the vaults is in her office. So all you have to do is basically go find her office. And her office is where we're going anyway, which is upstairs. As soon as you get upstairs, you're going to get a cutscene.
Welcome, dear patron, to the floor at the top of the stairs. If you have information about the Night Song, great riches await. If you are here to waste the great wizard Lorroakan's time, reconsider. Let your knowledge determine your path forward.
Okay, now from here your path can branch, because we want to get into the vaults where the Annals of Karsus is stored, and there are two ways to get there. The first, through this metal door, is her office. And you can click on a book in there, and it will open up a portal, just like these, that will take you down to the vaults. Now and it will take you to a specific spot in the vaults. Now there's another way into the vaults, and that is through Ramazith Tower, which is again a very real place in Forgotten Realms lore. And to get there, that's what these portals are for. Now, he said that your knowledge of the Night Song will guide your choice. If you read the plaques...
Here goes nothing.
The Night Song is a priceless ruby from a realm beyond our own.
They're all going to have some sort of, here's what the Night Song is type of text.
The Night Song is an ancient potion that allows its drinker to become irresistibly attractive to man and god alike. The Night Song is a druidic staff that allows its bearer command over an army of ancient beasts. The Night Song is an immortal being, the child of a deity.
So by this time you would know that this is the correct answer. None of the others are correct. So this portal here is going to take you to Lorroakan. These are just his projections. These are going to take you to Lorroakan himself, and there's a way into the vaults from there as well. Now you can cast darkness or fog cloud or something here. Pick the door, make your way into the room, close the door behind you, and take the portal in there. However, you just don't have to. Now for us it's easy because Shadowheart has unlimited darkness spells. So for her it's really easy to do that, to cast it and not use any action economy, but there's no real need to waste it if you don't have to. We can just go through this portal here and we'll continue on from there.
Hold very still, Nicklaw. Craig's aim is much improved, but still leaves something up to chance.
Yes, sir.
All right, Craig. Ready? Aim. We have a visitor. At ease. McClaw, you may go. I see no night song. Surely you wouldn't have entered my tower without the night song in hand? Surely you wouldn't have wasted my time? You'll have more gratitude than you know how to count once the night song is in my hands. Do you have it or not? She? Then you do know her. You've been to Szarr's temple. To the Shadowfell. You've looked upon the night song's face. Tell me, and choose your next words carefully. Where is she now? Dead? That cannot be. It is immortal. A god. Is that meant to be some consolation? It was the key to my immortality. How can this be? How can this be? Shit!
Okay, so Lorroakan, again, this would be if the Night Song was with us, which probably 90% of playthroughs. The Night Song is here. As soon as you pop up here, you would have a very dramatically different encounter with Lorroakan concerning the Night Song. However, for us, Shadowheart ended the possibility of that way back in Act 2. So Lorroakan is... his plan all along was to do the same thing that Ketheric Thorm was doing, to keep the Night Song captive and use her immortality as a way to grant him immortality. So now that she is dead, he has no plans for the future of his life, because that attempt at immortality is now gone. So he and everyone in this room is not hostile to us right now. So we have the opportunity to do some exploration of Ramazith's tower here. And the first thing is, I guess, just to take a look. So we'll walk out here on the balcony. Okay, so Ramazith Tower is in the upper city of Baldur's Gate. Okay, you can kind of see yourself oriented here. Down here is the counting house. Down this wall here is dividing the upper city from the lower city, which is just barely visible. The Basilisk Gate is down here in this wall over here. And as you're continuing down this way, again, past the harbor and everything like that, you can again start to orient yourself a little more, and you get down into the foundry down here in the lower city and that sort of stuff. But this here is the upper city. And this is the only real view that you're going to get of the upper city in its natural state. And I say that because the next time you see the natural city, or the upper city, it's going to be significantly torn up, and it's going to be in the middle of a fight. So being here in Ramazith Tower is the only chance that you get to see anything of the upper city. Now, there are some landmarks here, very, very few landmarks to be picked out that actually exist in the upper city of the Forgotten Realms lore. So they've done a really good job at Larian of kind of fleshing this area out with some of the actual things that are here, but it's not meant to be 100% precise and accurate, since you're never really going to get the opportunity to explore through the upper city like we do the lower city. It just kind of gives you a better overlook. Now, Ramazith Tower is here. It is obviously the tallest building in the upper city, stretches up above the clouds, and that's kind of what we're seeing. So it is a great view kind of what the city itself looks like. But that's not the only reason you kind of step out here onto the balcony, because you can start to see that there's more than just the floor that we're standing on. And there are a couple of ways to get down to the other floors. The first, if you don't have any other magical means, is you can just jump onto these 3 pieces of floating furniture and get down to the middle. If you have fly, you can just fly down there. It can be a little difficult to find a landing spot when you choose to fly, so you have to kind of make sure that your cameras are oriented correctly. You can also fly out here onto this outer area, which is what we're going to do. Since everybody in our party has fly, with the exception of one person, and that would be Shovel. We can take Shovel down the old-fashioned way. Okay, now for us, it's important that if you want to get the most out of exploring this floor and things going forward here in the vaults, you need to have somebody with see invisibility. So if you don't have Volo's Eye, then definitely cast see invisibility or drink an elixir of it. So, because otherwise these plates are not going to be visible. There are 6 of these, I think, scattered around the tower, and they all do different things. So this one's labeled artillery, and if you press the weave button, it's going to cause a fireball to shoot out of the top of the tower here. And that is important for something later on that we probably aren't going to have access to, but we'll kind of see how it goes. But I can't remember if I'm completely locked out of it or not. But this is part of Gather Your Allies. So I think how it plays out is that if you brought the Night Song here and you side with Lorroakan and give the Night Song to him, then Lorroakan joins your allies by being able to shoot fireballs as artillery into the upper city during the battle. If you side with the Night Song and Lorroakan dies, and Roland, the tiefling from Act 1 and Act 2, has survived, he will take over Ramazith's tower, and he will join you as your ally, and you will again get the same thing, where you can call on artillery fireballs in that battle in the upper city. We don't have either of those options available to us, so I think that Gather Your Allies thing is locked out for this playthrough. It's a minor thing, but it is something that we're going to have to miss out on because we just don't have an option available to us to get it. But this will kind of let you know what that thing is when it shows up in Gather Your Allies. So we're gonna make our way in here. And we're going to break our group, and we're going to take Gale around the outside here. Now, we're going to have Gale with guidance. And we want to add in Mage's Friend again. Okay, because there are Arcana checks.
More dangerous than I thought.
Around here, and they're DC 15, so they're not the easiest checks to make. I think there's another one here. Or here. There it is.
Better be careful not to trigger that thing.
And now we're going to refresh guidance. And make our way down to the inner ring.
Trap.
There's one there.
This place is more dangerous than I thought.
And there's one here. Now, you do not have to detect these traps, but one, it's important to realize they are not perception-based. They are arcana-based. Once you have found them, however, they are disarmed just like any other regular trap. And hey, Content Leech, sorry I didn't see you come in. I apologize for that. But welcome. Thank you for being here on the stream. I appreciate it. And again, you do not have to go through and perceive these or disarm them. I'm just showing you what's here, because there is a reason that they're here. Okay, we'll disarm this last one. Okay. And now we can go back to somebody with sea invisibility. Because again, you see that we have another weave button very similar to the artillery one that we saw outside, but there's nothing in front of it. As soon as you get close enough though, your sea invisibility will reveal it. And this lets you know that it's security. If you press this, you're going to get several arcane turrets that pop up. That's what all these glowing things are on the floor. So every one of them is going to spawn an arcane turret, just like the ones that were in the arcane tower in the Underdark. And they're all going to be hostile, and you're going to have a fight on your hands. The problem with that is that sometimes that fight can trigger people above you, because you see Crank is actually on our mini-map right now. So sometimes that fight can anger people above you, and things can get out of hand pretty quick if you do it. But again, you do not have to press it. Here you have below. We're going to see that here in a second, because you can see that there's another level down below us. So this is going to teleport your party down there, which is where we're going to go here in a second. This one says cleanup, and this is what activates those gas traps. Once you click this, the gas traps let out cloud kill, which again is quite dangerous. And I think it's meant to clean up rats and things like that that may infest the towers occasionally. You can click this and let the cloud kill exterminate everything in here. But again, you don't have, this is why you don't have to disarm the gas traps, because if you don't ever click that button, the gas traps are never going to go off. And then last is the vaults. And this is the other entrance to the vaults where the Folly of Karsus, or the Annals of Karsus, is located. So first we're going to take a little bit and we're going to explore this level here. And who do we have? So I guess Astarion has a little bit left here.
Let's keep to the shadow.
Okay, there's some gold in here.
Tread lightly. Neither seen nor heard.
Okay, just a hat.
Ready or not.
Some decent arrows.
Let's go. Very, very quiet. Leave no trace. Certainly.
And an opulent chest here. Some more arrows.
Don't linger.
And now we're back where we started. So now we can go take a look at the inner ring here.
Into the shadows.
The task list here of things to give Miklar to do, and it says that the Annals of Karsus are in the Karsus Vault for safekeeping.
Move unseen. I'll just help myself.
And a Crown of Madness scroll for games. So. Alright, so that completes our exploration here of this area. Now we need to look for the below tab again, which I think is over here. Yes.
Go.
Below.
So we're going to click the weave button, and that teleports us down here. Now there are two levers. Now these levers are invisible. If you have see invisibility, then you see them pop up. Okay. Otherwise, you have to perceive them for them to show up. Now, once you get them perceived, then you need to actually use them. And to do that, you need to pass an Arcana check. And it's, again, a DC 20 Arcana check. So if you look at our character sheets, you can tell this is where having Gale with you, not just the fact that he should be here for the continuation of his quest line, but having him is a huge benefit because of his high intelligence and his bonuses to Arcana with his proficiency scores. This is also where you have the Mage's Friend to get you a +1 to Arcana. There are a bunch of other things that you can add onto this as well, and I don't have the Staff of Arcane Blessing on me right now, but that would add a bless effect, which can help you pass this. And like I say, you have multiple options on how to improve your Arcana score. Right now it's +10, so I'm at a 50-50 chance to do it. I have guidance
My faith will
available
guide me.
on everybody. I'm going to
live in more interesting times.
because this bless only works on attack rolls and saving throws. So right, I think what do I have for inspirations? I've got no inspirations, which is not great. So thinking whether I want to do this or not. Does Shadowheart have... She's got enhanceability, which we will probably use just to get advantage here, which is going to be very, very helpful for this. Okay. So, yeah, I think we'll just go with this and see how well it goes. So we're going to have Gale interact with each of these. So we'll start with the lever here. Here's your Arcana check. I'm getting a +10. So we're going to add in guidance from Gale and advantage from Shadowheart. Okay, so I passed that one. And while that's still active, I'm going to go over here. And again, same things. Okay, we passed it again. And that's going to lower both of the globes of invulnerability and give us access to these two items. Now, these two items, one of them is the best of its type in the game, and that's Marco Heshkir.
Good find.
Okay, Marco Heshkir is a legendary staff, It's a +2 weapon. You gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. There are, however, two really important parts to Marco Hishkir, and the first being Arcane Battery. So you alleviate the burden of spell casting with the power of the staff. The next spell you cast does not cost a spell slot. That's incredibly powerful. Being able to use your level 6 spell one additional time can be extraordinarily powerful. And this is once per long rest. So basically, once per long rest, you can cast an additional spell of whatever level. It doesn't have to be level 6. But you're obviously trying to use this to its best effect. And this gives you a great option to expand your action economy. The second thing is Koreshka's Favor. And we're going to look more about this when we've equipped it. Imbue yourself with elemental energy sourced from the draconic goddess Koreshka. We'll look at this here in just a second. Everything else, normal quarterstaff. And we're going to now get rid of Woe. If we look at Woe compared to Marco Hishkir, we still get the +1 to spell save, DC, and attack rolls, so that's the same. We're giving up an additional 1d4 hit points on a failed saving throw, and we're giving up the ability to cast Blight once per long rest. So at the end of the day, not a super loss in anything here compared to what we're going to gain. So I'm going to drop Woe off, but I'm still going to keep Morning Frost, and that's for the chilled effect that goes along with it. Gaining the additional 1 cold damage is obviously great, but it's the chilled effect that we're going to be using here. And this is going to synchronize very, very nicely with Marco Hishkir now, because now you see Koreshka's Favor. Now, Koreshka's Favor comes in one of 6 flavors, so to speak, and it's all based on the draconic variants: acid, cold, flame, lightning, poison, and thunder. So they all get different things. They get a resistance to the type of damage that they're associated with. They also add your proficiency bonus, which right now is 4, in that type of damage to any of your spells of that type. So in this case, thunder spells deal an additional thunder damage equal to your proficiency bonus. Each of them is also going to give you access to a couple of spells of that type of damage and an effect of that type. So here we gain Reverberation, which goes along with thunder, and the ability to cast Shatter and Destructive Wave once per short rest. For poison, you can inflict the poison and also cast Cloud Cone Ray of Sickness. For here, you gain lightning charges, and you can cast Chain Lightning and Lightning Bolt. Here, you gain heat for your heat convergence builds, and you can cast Fireball and Wall of Fire. And here, you can inflict 1 turn of Nauseous Fumes, and you can also cast Hunger of Hadar and Melf's Acid Arrow. For us, though, we're going to be attuning to the cold, and that's because we're cold-based. So now our spells are going to deal additional cold damage equal to our proficiency bonus, and we gain resistance to cold damage, which is all nice. When you deal spell damage, you inflict 1 turn of frost, which is encrusted with frost, upon the target. Now this is going to stack with the other things that we have that are giving encrusted with frost. So every time we inflict cold damage, we're going to do it, and since we're dealing additional cold damage here with this, we're going to be putting more stacks of frost every time we deal cold damage. So you'll find that very quickly, just by hitting somebody with a single Ray of Frost cantrip, they're going to get 6 stacks of encrusted with frost. And remember, when they get to 7 stacks, they take 1d4 cold damage and become frozen unless they succeed on a Constitution saving throw. Okay. So we're now very quickly getting to the point where we can almost one-shot frozen on anybody we attack. It also allows us to cast Cone of Cold and Ice Storm. So you could go back, and if you took Ice Storm or Cone of Cold as spells that you selected as you leveled up, you can now go respec and get rid of those, because we're always going to have them from Marco Heshgir once per long rest. You can't keep them as spells, and if you want to cast them more than once, it's completely up to you. So we're going to cast this. And now you see we have our once per short rest castings of Cone of Cold and Ice Storm. And we're now synergized. There's Arcane Battery that we can toggle on and off. And now we're going to kind of see how that works a little bit more when we come back to this location. We're not going to do it right this second, because we have one more thing that we want to do with Gale.
Let's explore.
Trap.
Okay, so we passed the Arcana check to realize that it's trapped.
Watch your back. Something over there.
Okay, we can open this up, and inside is a high security vault number 1 key. Again, part of the collection of keys for the Counting House vaults. Next to it is a gilded chest that has the Sorcerous Sundries mystery door key. This opens up a door up there on the 2nd floor with some stuff in it that you can loot. And then over here on this table is the Robe of the Weave.
The air is ripe with magic. It shall be done.
Okay, now the Robe of the Weave gains you an additional +1 to spell save DC and attack rolls. So if we wanted to give up the Armor of Agathis here from the Ice Bite robe, which is part of Gale's build here, we can swap this out to the Robe of the Weave and gain an additional +1 to spell save DC and attack rolls. When the wearer succeeds a saving throw against a spell, they regain 1d6 hit points, which is really nice. Normally that's 1d4. Now it's 1d6 here for the Robe of the Weave, and your armor class goes up by 2. So that would now up him to 18, which is actually fairly impressive for a spellcaster, a pure spellcaster type. And I think giving up Armor of Agathis is probably a decent thing for us. We can still cast it as a spell here. We got it as part of our Warlock dip when we did it. Here, this allowed us to cast it for free as level 3. Here, we'd have to cast it and up-level it and use a higher level spell slot, or we could leave it at level 1 if we would like. So I think we're going to go ahead and swap this out. Okay. Now, that's going to remove Armor of Agathis from Gale, because Armor of Agathis is removed. The condition ends when the Icebite robe is unequipped. Right? So we have now lost it, but we've gained quite a bit here in our armor class and our +1 to the spell save DC. So now we've got a +2 to our spell save DC and spell attack rolls, which means our Ray of Frost cantrip is going to hit a lot more often, another 10% more often because of it. So the last thing is
step lightly.
Over here, there's a display case, and there's a scroll of Disintegrate. Now again, Gale can learn that to be able to cast it whenever he wants.
No one back home will ever believe this.
So here, this is now listed as above.
Let's see.
So we'll teleport up, and now we're looking for the vaults, which is over here.
What path lies before me?
Okay, so we'll click here. And Gale. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure why we're doing one at a time, but doesn't matter. It is what it is. Okay. And we're teleported into this room. Now, this room is a special room in that you normally have to enter this room from the main room way down here. This main room is where you enter in from her office upstairs. So now that we're in here, there are some things that we can do, and the first is here behind this display case. So we're gonna have a Starian lockpick this.
With pleasure.
It is a high DC. Okay, and now inside of here, you have the Red Knight's final stratagem.
Salutations.
I want to pick this up. And you notice a couple of things. One, it's got a yellow outline and it's worth 2,000 gold. Second, we're going to have Gale read it. And it talks about a Red Knight Paladin. The pages here contain that of her which was left on the material plane after her ascension. And you're going to get a scroll of artistry of war. So we're going to accept that. This scroll is unique in the game. It is like a very upscaled magic missile, in that it never misses. There are 6 magic missile bolts that fly out, and each deals 8 to 18, which is 2d6 plus 6 force damage on a hit. Okay, now the great thing about this scroll here is that Gale can learn it. And if he goes to his spell book here, he's got an open spell slot, and there it is. Okay, now it's a level 5 spell. Okay, so we can cast it twice. But it is a, like I say, very upscaled version of Magic Missile. And we have 2 casts of it, and that's a bunch of damage that it can do. And again, force damage is one of the least resisted damage types in the game. We're also probably going to take... I'm thinking real quick. No, I think we're fine without it for now. Okay, and now we can do some quick searching in here. Another scroll. Some more crafting ingredients. The floor here, this is not empty. You can walk across it. Potions.
Right away.
And some gold. Okay, so now
What to do?
we'll move up to the door here.
Let's see what this does.
And we enter into this kind of cross room
What a day.
here.
Tread carefully.
That again, we can go to the wooden chests.
Symbol.
And another scroll of disintegrate. Really good. And now we're going to walk around the back here. And you can kind of see from your map before you looked at it that it looked kind of cut off here. And we'll see that again here in a second. But inside this room, there is a peculiar lamp. Now, we're going to dismiss shovel for this.
Let me work my magic.
Have a lot on my mind and, well, in it. That's a friendly looking shadow.
Go.
Just like old times.
And we're going to go in here with Gale. Now, two things are going to happen. This is the one peculiar lamp in the entire game that when you interact with it actually does something other than say, it's a shame there's no genie here. This one's actually going to have an interaction with a genie. And the first thing that's going to happen is that whoever touches the lamp is going to be teleported into the lamp. And you're going to have a cutscene with that genie. The second thing that's going to happen is that genie is going to be teleported out of the lamp into this room, and you're going to have an interaction with him. Okay, now we want to have somebody who can summon something, a familiar of some type. And that's why we're doing this with Gale, because he can summon Shovel again. Here inside, once he gets inside of here. And that's going to be key to escaping this once we're in there. So we'll click on it with Gale.
You've arrived in the nick of time, saintly adventurer. I've been trapped for so long, I dare say I'm half mad. Ho ho! Thank you for sacrificing yourself to save me. Such courage brings a tear to the eye.
Okay, we do have an Arcana check that we can make here.
Touching the lamp seemed to satisfy a condition to the magic trapping the djinn. You realize what this must be. Imprisonment. One of the most powerful incantations a wizard can cast. You may be stuck here indefinitely.
I sense you're deep in thought, my brave new friend. Do not fret. Until another takes your place, you will have all the time in the many worlds to ponder. Toodles! Oh, freedom's sweet nectar. How I missed you. Oh, my rescuer left behind a servant. I'm terribly sorry for your loss. I'm sure you're at your wit's end without your master. Bless this wretched head, of course. Here, compensation for your loss. 1,000 good tidings upon you.
Okay, and now we are inside the lamp here. Okay, now it gave me some clues on how to get out of here. One needs to take our place. But first, I'm gonna click left alt here. You can see there's all sorts of stuff in here to pick up. So we're gonna go around and just, and some of it is extraordinarily useful. So we're just gonna go around and pick everything up. There's a little song that they wrote while they were losing their mind. There's a scroll of summon Quasit. So, since we can summon Shovel again, but we can only do that once per short rest, you can use this scroll here to summon a Quasit instead of Shovel, and that will serve. Okay, some nice potions. Again, this is so much easier with just holding left alt. Okay, so now we've picked up everything else. There are some more things. You can pick up more wine goblets. There's some stuff laying on the tables and that sort of stuff with some more camp supplies. But for now, we did pick up a scroll of summon Quasit. So we're going to go ahead and cast this. And as soon as we do, it's going to eject us from the lamp. And the Quasit is going to be stuck inside here. Okay, and now we can click on the Quasit and we can just dismiss it. Alright, and now we have access to Shovel again, without having to take a short rest again to get access to him again. Okay. So that is how to deal with the peculiar lamp in this particular area. So
on my way.
Let's head out here again. You can see there's a lever on the wall. This is the portal that leads you up to her office in the upper floor of the Sorcerous Sundries. Okay, so this is where you would normally appear.
Time for a little death. That's curious.
Normally you would have to pass a perception check of a DC 15, so it's not, easy to do, to find the button that would open this wall from this side. So that's the difference, is that you can come in the portal here, utilizing darkness or fog cloud and picking the door, and then you have to pass a perception check to find the button and open it, or, like I say, it's much easier just to come in through Ramazith's tower and come in this way. Now, you're not going to get out this way, There is no way to take you out. There's no weave button to take you out of here. It's a one-way ticket, but that's perfectly fine. We can use the portal to get back out.
Step quick.
Storage and sorting of scrollwork, parchment, and tomes.
Okay, scroll of Cloud Kill. Nice for Gale. And this is... Miklar was categorizing everything that is down here inside the vaults.
Still breathing, despite everything.
And now we're going to go the
Moving in.
opposite way through this door. And here you can see what I mean by the map kind of being cut off. Look at this side. You can see a full wall here. This side, you can see there's not a full wall. So that's kind of indicating that there's an illusion wall there.
On my way. A crooked touch.
Okay, some various expensive gems. And some good potions.
Can't give up now.
And now, as like on the other side, we're going to cross through the illusion wall here, and we're in a room, and you can see that we have a book over here. But inside, there are some various things that we can search. Scroll of Wall of Ice is nice. You don't find those very often. Some crafting ingredients. So here you learn about Dahurst's message to Lorroakan, where he was trying to learn how to cast a ritual spell. Just some more correspondence and stuff. This is one of Lorroakan's, this is Lorroakan's office, where he's talking about the Night Song and what he's going to do utilizing her.
My.
Okay, and again, the Cowled Wizards of Am. Now this goes deep into the lore of the Forgotten Realms, and I'm not going to spend time going into it. But again, the things that Larian has programmed into the game here are really pretty impressive for anybody who is a follower of tabletop and all of that sort of stuff. So here on the shelf here is another book, Caution Before the Seelie. So if we pick that up, again, it's another book worth 2,000, marked as legendary. If we read it, it talks about an unfortunate halfling forced to join the Seelie court during an ill-fated tour of the Beastlands. And here, that's going to give us the Scroll of Bestial Communion. Now this is, again, it shows a single-use scroll. Okay, my wizard level is too low for this. I can respec and temporarily get it high enough to learn this. Now, this summons a Deva, and we have seen how how powerful a Deva is when we summon them in the temple at the start of Act 3. So being able to summon one as a companion is a huge benefit. So what I will end up doing is probably off stream. I will just respec to a level 12 wizard or a level 11 wizard, basically, and learn this spell so that I can bring a Deva companion along with the use of a level 6 spell slot. So it's actually a really, really powerful spell. The question is whether or not I want to keep that around and adjust my build because of it, because I would have to drop off. I think I've got to be level 11. I'm thinking about what it is. Now, I might have to be level 9 wizard, so I may have to drop off something off of one of these 2 levels to be able to do it. So I'll kind of play with that off stream and see how I want to approach it. But for now, I'll just drop it in my spell tome.
No one stopped me yet.
And we'll come back out and we'll head
One day I'll catch a break.
the other way here. Now, this is going to take us into the vaults proper.
No entry to vaults. Trespassers will be disintegrated. Master Lorroakan.
Okay, and this is the mystery door key that we picked up in Ramazith's tower, which will unlock this. Otherwise, this is a DC 20 lockpick. Not extraordinarily difficult, but certainly not easy by any means. Now, there are going to be a bunch of these rooms that all look similar to each other here, and they all act the same way. The only difference really is the labeling on the doors. And they're all going to have a lever. Now, the only way that these levers are visible is if you have C invisibility. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have C invisibility. I'm going to break my group, and I'm going to fly around the corner here. Failed a bunch of perception checks. That's perfectly fine, because there are all sorts of traps in these rooms. There are gas traps. In some of them, there are fire traps in others, and there are trap trigger pads all around the sides and one in the middle. But the lever deactivates all of it. See, now you can see
There's Ramazith,
all of the traps and trap triggers that are out here in these
The
rooms.
animals must be behind his door.
Now, as Gale says, the Karsus vault here is the way that we're going to want to go, but lockpicking is impossible. You need to navigate your way through these rooms to be able to get these doors unlocked. Now, there is, inside the wiki, it will let you know how each of these work. But from this room, they all start out with Silverhand, because we can't go through Elminster or Karsus yet. Those doors are locked and can't be picked. So we have to start out with Silverhand. Now I'm going to, again, break my group, go in with my Paladin. See, what I'll do is I'll just separate my Paladin out and go through Silverhand. Okay, now this puts me in this next room, and again, the lever has been revealed because I have C invisibility. So I'm going to fly. And that deactivates the traps. Okay, and now everyone else can come through Silverhand. Okay, but we don't necessarily need everybody to come in. So I'm just going to continue doing this with my Paladin. Now, inside this room, again, the doors are all labeled Abjuration, Evocation, Transmutation, and Illusion. Now there's something different here. Evocation, transmutation, abjuration, and illusion. If you've noticed what's different, the illusion door has a hit bar, a hit point pool of 12. None of the others do. So now we can attack the illusion door, and that opens up this secret room here that has a gilded chest in it. And here you get the Hellfire Great Axe. Now this is the final piece of the puzzle for your heat builds. Whenever you deal damage with this weapon, you gain 2 turns of heat. It's a +2 Great Axe, which is really nice. It does 1d6 fire. Remember, I'm getting 1d4 fire from my gloves. This 1d6 is from the weapon itself, so a 1d6 damage writer is very, very good. However, it also comes with a weapon action. Once per short rest, you can basically cleave with this. Now, cleave is something that strikes out in an arc and damages multiple targets around you. You get an individual attack roll against all of them when you do it, and everybody you hit with this is going to get burning for 1 turn. And there are a bunch of things in heat builds that when you burn a target, that will then proc other things. Specifically, the Helldusk armor that we picked up in the honor mode playthrough will burn targets, and there are a bunch of things in the heat build here that will proc more turns of heat and allow you to deal that fire damage back. So the other thing about this is that the Hellfire, the 2d6 version of it down at the very bottom, ignores resistance and immunity to fire damage, which is massive. Taking a heat build in and going up against Raphael, who's immune to fire damage, is actually very, very useful. And that's kind of where this Great Axe was originally placed, I think, is to help overcome a bunch of that. So it is a very good Great Axe for that heat build. Like I say, it is the final step in building that thing out.
Moving ahead.
So now we have 2 other doors here, Evocation and Transmutation. If you clicked on the Illusion door here, by the way, it would take you back to the start. So for us, actually, we have 3 other doors here. So for us, we're going to take Abjuration. That's going to take us to a specific room to let us continue on.
Seems simple enough.
Now, we've already triggered a trap here, because this one has the plate in the middle, and you can see the gargoyles, the fire traps, along the outside, but there's our lever. And we've now deactivated it. Now inside this room, we have Silver, Shadow, Wild, and Demon. But again, notice something different about Silver. Here's Demon. Here's Silver. Silver has a hit bar, but it also has a different icon. You can open this door, whereas you can't open the others. So now this brings us into a room with a lever in it, and we're going to fly across all of this and activate the lever. Now that lever is going to open the Karsus door back at the very beginning. And now from here, any of the other doors that we take are going to take us back to the very beginning. Okay, so now we're going to go to Silverhand again, and now you can see the Karsus doors open. Now from here, we need to take the evocation door. And again, we're in a room with traps. There's our lever. Okay, we've now disabled all the traps. And from here, again, looking at the doors, gate, invulnerability, foresight, wish, we can open. Very similar process to what we saw last time. And that is going to open the Elminster Vault. Now here it's a little different in that 2 of these doors won't take you back to the beginning, but one of them will. And the foresight door will take you back to the beginning. So now we can go both ways. We're going to go to the Elminster Vault first. Now in here, there are 2 opulent chests which are only visible with sea invisibility. So again, make sure whoever's in here, you have sea invisibility when you're walking around. Gold. The Pyro Quickness Hat. So this is, again, a part of a couple of different things. You can use this as part of just a fire-based build. In other words, you're going to burn yourself. Okay, so which means you're going to take 1d4 fire damage per turn. If you have stuff that makes you immune to burning, then that will be negated. And every time you deal fire damage with a level spell, meaning not with a cantrip, you'll gain an additional bonus action. And that's per round. Okay, it resets every turn. So if you're dealing fire damage with a leveled spell, then you can gain an additional bonus round every turn. Combine this with the gloves that allow you to cast cantrips as bonus actions, and now you can cause damage with something like Scorching Ray or something like that, and then throw out a cantrip or a couple of cantrips using your bonus action, since you're going to have additional ones in your turn. So it works really well with certain builds, not anything that I have set up right now, but can be very useful. And necrotic resistance, really nice. Now, the last thing here is the lock display case.
Skeleton key.
It's a DC 20. And in here we have the Tharsiate Codex. Now, here,
There's work to do.
Shadowheart has the forbidden knowledge. She is the one who read the Necromancy of Thay way back in Act 1. All right, we're going to have her pick this up. And she is now going to read it. Extremely powerful knowledge may include curses. And here you learn more about the Necromancy of Thay. You learn about the Red Wizards, and you learn about what the Necromancy of Thay was really doing. And it lays out a clear path to unraveling the secrets contained in the Necromancy of Thay. Now, immediately as soon as you read it, you're going to get Tharsiate Withering, which means my Constitution score is reduced by 5 while I'm cursed. Now, there are a couple of different ways you can remove this curse. Obviously, remove curse is one. The other is Greater Restoration. Now, I don't have a way to cast Greater Restoration, I don't believe, with an item. And I certainly don't want to use a level 5 spell slot for it. So we're going to use Remove Curse to cast it. I'm going to have to cast it level 4 because I don't have any level 3 spell slots left. And as soon as I do, it gets replaced with Tharsiate Vigor. So until long rest, granted 20 temporary hit points by the Tharsiate Codex's Enervating Magic. Alright, so you can see she has 20 temporary hit points, which is a big number. And Tharsiate Vigor is a little differently. Works a little differently, and it doesn't say anything in the tooltip. But every time you take a long rest, you're going to get these 20 hit points back. Now, if you go and respec, you're going to lose them. But as soon as you take a long rest, they will come back. So Shadowheart's always going to start each long rest with 20 additional temporary hit points. Sorry about that, about the cough there that came through. But it also does something else for Shadowheart. We've accessed the vault and the lower level now to find the Tharsiate Codex. So we have found it, and it said that we have now a way to decipher the Necromancy of Thay. So before we read the Necromancy of Thay again, we need to take a look at our wisdom saving throws. So right now we're getting a plus 12 to wisdom saving throws. And there's going to be a wisdom saving throw that we're going to have to make here when we read the Necromancy of Thay. And that saving throw, again, remember, we do not have any inspirations for this. So we want to utilize as much as we can to make sure that she's going to pass this saving throw, as you know, to the best of her ability. So remember how we did some of this in the honor mode playthrough, with the Zaith'isk. So kind of spreading things around a little bit. With her spell book, Beacon of Hope gains you a advantage on wisdom saving throws. So you definitely want to have that active. Now, resistance is going to gain you a bonus to saving throws, but she can't cast both. They both require concentration. So she could cast Beacon of Hope. Gale has the resistance cantrip on him, which is allows us to double that up. Bless allows us an additional 1d4 bonus to attack rolls and saving throws. So my Paladin can cast Bless. And then at the same time, I could give Valar Eluve to Astarion and have him use the Sing ability to basically guarantee that saving throw. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going to do, but right now we're a little short on spell slots, so we're going to hold off on reading that until we take our
I wonder what the next move is.
Our long rest, because I don't think we can cast Beacon of Hope here unless Beacon of Hope is able to be upcast. It is able to be upcast. So I can cast it there. Can I cast... I can upcast Bless here. So I guess that will work. So I guess we can go do it, and then we get all our spell slots back once we take our long rest. So we'll go back to camp and end up picking up Valar Louvre and make sure that we have the best opportunity to pass this. But there is one other thing that we want to do, and that's we want to get one of our inspirations back. So this clears out the Elminster Vault, and now we can return.
Everything.
And now we can go over to the Karsus Vault.
Breathe deep and move.
And again, we're in here, and you have revealed chests. So only sea invisibility is going to find them. And in here you have some additional weapons that you can pick up. Scroll of Flesh to Stone. And here you have Foe Breaker. Now, Foe Breaker is the acid and fire damage are coming from me, not from the weapon. It's a +2 maul. The thing that makes this special is that it ignores bludgeoning resistance. Now, bludgeoning resistance is not all that common in the game, but for those enemies that have universal resistance, where it's resistance to all the 3 different types of damage, bludgeoning being one of them, this can overcome that. In my mind, it's a very situational weapon to have at best. Something you can store in your camp, and then when you know you're going to get to a boss type enemy or something like that that's resistant to all those types, then you can look at it. But until then, like I say, not really worth it. Bunch of scrolls. Scroll of Invulnerability, good. Chain Lightning, very good.
Color me curious.
Hold Monster. And Eye Bite. Now here we've got a couple of things. So, just a little warning here from Karsus, saying he thought himself equal to Mystra, and he failed. And this is kind of a warning to other mages to not go down that route. And then you have a Scroll of Dethrone. Now, Dethrone is again one of those very powerful necrotic spells, like Blight. It's still not on the level of Disintegrate, which again goes up to 100, but 30 to 80 is nothing to sneer at. It's the same top-end damage as Chain Lightning and stuff like that. So it is high up there. And again, you can learn this for Gale to have it. But yeah, Dethrone is a very, very good, very long range. It's a 30-meter range. It's not the 18-meter that you get from a lot of others. Disintegrate is 9 meters. So you can cast this all the way across the map. So it's a very, very good spell to have in your inventory. And the last thing here's the Annals of Karsus. So we'll pick it up. That's going to advance the quest.
All we have to do is turn the page.
And we will read it. Again, another book worth 2,000 gold. And here you learn about the crown here. And he made a crown to give the wearer dominion over himself so that he remains his own entity apart from the weave. Okay.
These notes are no mere diary. These are the visions of Karsus himself. Designs for the crown he hoped to forge. And the new form of magic he planned to create with it. It seems Raphael was telling you the truth. The crown you saw atop the Elder Brain is indeed of Karsus's making. Reunite the crown with the Dead Three's netherstones, and Karsus's design might yet be completed. You could wield the power of a god. Few mortals are truly capable of ascending to godhood. Karsus famously failed, but that doesn't mean you would share his fate. After all, Mystra herself was once no more than a mortal wizard. She has no more right than any other. It's time someone else had a go. Someone with more ambition. Of course, there's still the matter of your deal with Raphael. Unless your contract with him is destroyed, the crown is his to claim.
Okay, and now we're setting Gale down his path on the Wizard of Waterdeep. So he could attempt to reforge the true crown, restoring it to its former powers. First, we need to bring the 3 netherstones together. So his is going to be a little delayed until we get all 3 netherstones. And same thing here with Lae'zel. We want to deal with the devil and the Free Orpheus quest before we can complete the Githyanki warrior. So these 2 are kind of on hold until we progress a bit further through the main quest line.
Still breathing, despite everything.
So now we are again
Swift as
heading back to the starting point. And from here, we can head back to the portal. And the portal, we end up in her office. Okay, now we remember where this is. We talked about this door. The book over here is the one you have to click to open the portal. But since we opened the portal from the other side, you saw this book briefly go click, and now you can't interact with it anymore. But while you're in here, this is the other basement chest key. So if you come into her office from this way, then you can grab the key instead of lockpicking a few things here. Again, anything marked in here is going to be marked as steel, but with the door closed, you're free to do it. We don't need this basement chest key anymore, but might as well pick it up. We don't have any other reason not to. And from here, we can now fast travel again. We are free to leave and go wherever we want. So, looking at our map, you can see that we've finished up opening up everything out here, with the exception of one thing, and that is dealing with Raphael. But there is something else that we want to do first. And while we still have some action economy here left, we want to go take care of that. And for that, we're going to head to the Lower City Central Wall, and we're going to immediately come back in.
Look, Mama, look! It's so pretty!
And we're going to head back to Ramazith Tower.
I'll give it a shot.
Now, as I told you, Lorroakan here, there's no more use for him, basically. With how we've played it out, he doesn't have any future part in any quest lines at all. That doesn't mean that we can't deal with him. he is a bad guy. He's very much like Balthazar in that he wanted to imprison the Night Song to sustain his immortality. So we can deal with him, and there's a benefit in dealing with him that we definitely want to get, and that's because of our lack of inspirations. We can get an inspiration here out of killing Lorroakan, and so we definitely want to do that. So looking at Lorroakan here, the 4 elementals, air, fire, water, and earth, are giving him certain buffs. So he's getting an additional 3d8 poison damage whenever elemental retort is cast, and that's a level 5 evocation spell. And you can see that right now when he takes damage, he can retaliate, blasting your attacker with the elemental damage of each Myrmidon currently being siphoned. So right now, that's 12 to 96 damage that he can use as a reaction when he is attacked. Okay, so it serves you best to be able to remove the elementals first when you're dealing with him, or to send somebody in who can tank that damage and is then able to knock him out once that, because he only gets it as a reaction, and he only has 1 reaction per round. So if you have somebody who can tank that damage, then you can take him out, or try and take him out in 1 round, right? And then you can deal with the Myrmidons afterward, because he is a very good spellcaster. Now he's level 8. He's not level 12 or 11, which means he doesn't have access to the ultimate high-level spells. But he still casts some really harsh spells at you. So, and he's immune to those elemental damage types while they are, while he's siphoning them. Okay, he's also gaining additional spells: Chromatic Orb Poison, Lightning Bolt, Cone of Cold, and Fireball that he can cast from each of the Myrmidons. Now the Myrmidons have high hit points. Okay, they are nothing to shake a stick at here. So here's how I'm going to play this out. And Lord Henry has part of it, in that I can kind of massage this fight a little bit. There are a couple of things. Right now, I have an Elixir of Cloud Giant Strength on my Paladin. My Paladin right now is listing no resistances, but I could change that with an Elixir of Universal Resistance. So I could sacrifice some damage here to help better tank that response that I'm going to get. I can also trigger a surprise round in here and then bring my other characters in to the fight in a way where hopefully I can cause damage to Lorroakan and roll high enough in the initiative order that even if I can't kill him on the first turn, I can kill him in the second. Okay, and then I can deal with the Myrmidons. So that's kind of how I'm going to play this out. So I'm going to put my Paladin back here behind Lorroakan. Going to move Astarion behind the Air Myrmidon. Out here on this balcony.
Over here.
There's a reason for that. The Air Myrmidon has a flail. That flail can stun you. He is the only one that has a weapon that can do stunning as an effect, and I want to be able to get rid of him as quickly as I can. And Astarion's burst damage is going to help me with that.
Next, I wonder.
As far as Shadowheart goes, going to move her back here behind the Earth Elemental.
Good.
Gale,
On my way.
going to bring out Shovel. Separate him. Shovel's going to go invisible.
Oh, I have the magic touch.
Gale's going to come up here on top. He's going to go into hiding up here.
Such a long way down.
Okay. And now, going to go in with Shovel. And I'm going to play this a little differently because honestly, I'm going to try something here. Because honestly, I can't remember if he gets a reaction. I don't think he does. On his first... Once I start combat here, and he takes damage, I do not think he uses his reaction. Right? So what I am going to do is take a potion of invisibility with my Paladin. I'm going to attack Lorroakan. Again, I don't think he uses a reaction on that first attack when I enter combat that way. And then, instead of causing more damage to him, I'm going to have Shovel, who's not in combat, hit him the next time to tank that damage instead. So let's have my Paladin take a potion of invisibility. Okay, and now again I'm just going to throw damage at Lorroakan here.
Pick to fight. The consequences are hardly surprising.
I don't want to do that because I don't want to bring Shadowheart in yet. He just rolled extremely well. Jeez, rolled. Look at these rolls. Okay, and now instead of me hitting him again here, I'm gonna have Shovel attack him. And have Shovel tank the damage. And now I can go after him again. So I'm at 85% chance to hit with Great Weapon Master, and I do have a smite. Oh, you're killing me, Smalls. If I miss this, things could go horribly sideways. I'm going to chance it. Actually, you know, I might as well throw... topple the big folk on top of this. If I'm gonna go all in, might as well go all in. Alright. And there's my inspiration. Now with my bonus action, going after the Water Myrmidon with 75% chance to hit. He's frightened. They both are, which is good. I left him with 3 hit points. Alright, so that worked out really well. I'm a little surprised that attacking from invisibility didn't get me a surprise round there. Whatever. Like Lord Henry said, sacrificing Shovel is the way to go there, to avoid that first set of damage from him with his reaction. So now let's bring everybody in here, and now since we don't have a surprise round, it's going to depend on reaction, or our initiative rolls. But let's go ahead and get damage started, and yeah, I don't have my action surge, I forgot. So I probably won't be able to kill the Myrmidon in one round. We'll crit here. And throw a sneak attack crit. Now we're gonna have to hope that that Myrmidon misses Astarion, because if he hits him, he's probably gonna stun him. And then everything becomes a crit, and things go bad very, very fast. I wasn't expecting Miklar to turn around that way.
Can't afford any
because
mistakes.
this detection cone is probably going to be messed up now, and it is.
Onward.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here. Okay, and we're going to use Edge of Darkness here. That's going to create a darkness whenever we hit. And he's blinded.
Rather stand tall.
And now, where are we in the order here? So let's get rid of the Water Myrmidon. The Water Myrmidon here. Nothing special.
A wizard, not a cat burglar.
So we'll get rid of him. With Gale. So now the Air Myrmidon's going to get a chance here, and like I say, we need to hope that he misses, Astarion. The flail, like I say, is not listed as what it does, but it's bad. Okay, he did stun him. Okay, he's not going to be able to attack, though, so that's okay. So, for Shadowheart, what do we have left after her? We have the Earth Myrmidon. I'm not too... I don't think he can make it over to Astarion. But the fire might, you know, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm gonna have Shadowheart drink a potion of speed so that she can get her action back, and I'm gonna cast Freedom of Movement on Astarion. I can't afford to have him stunned. I just don't know what the other Myrmidons are going to do on their turn, and I don't want them popping out of here and going after him.
Let's have some courage.
Okay, so now let's see if we can get rid of him. And again, I don't care if I provoke an attack of opportunity here. I want the Air Myrmidon dead. Oh, come on. Roll me a crit, Astarion. Okay, perfect.
I speak, they burn.
Okay, and I think that's it for now. Might as well throw out Hex. Shoot at her while she's displaced. I'm happy about that. Okay, so definitely time to drop Great Weapon Master here. Don't know why that provokes an attack of opportunity, but I'll start this way. That would keep me from dealing a lot of damage this turn, though. Threatened, threatened. Could frighten them, but with these two, I'm not too worried. They're going after the two highest armor class people that I have. I'm thinking I probably should have thrown in Spiteful Suffering to get advantage on the attacks that I keep missing 70%ers on. Should have done this first. That would have given me advantage on attacks against the Fire Myrmidon.
Cut and run.
go. Nice.
Creator, destroyer. One by one.
Can't give up.
What do we have here? 70 plus left? And 27. Yeah, not going to be able to hit very well with that. This is again an attack roll. Okay, so I think we'll just go in here. Try and land regular attacks for now. I'm not too worried about him. I just want to get him threatened. Alright.
Time to press ahead.
Alright, so we'll wait for her lethargic to wear off, and now we can cast Speak with the Dead on Lorroakan. Okay.
Looking ahead.
The Myrmidon's covering him up.
Let's get on with it. This way.
That's unfortunate. I don't think I've had that happen before.
No time
Wonder
to
if I
dally.
can cast it using this. Doesn't look like I can. Can't right click it. Okay, well, you won't get to see an interaction with him. Because, yeah, I can't seem to find any location where he is available. The Myrmidon's hitboxes are huge. I'm all the way out here and I'm searching the Fire Myrmidon, so they just overlap every part of him. And I can't move the Myrmidons. And I can't right click on him to be able to move him. So, okay then. Interesting. None of the Myrmidons are going to have anything on them. There is a, well, there used to be, I don't know if it still works or not. There used to be a way that you could search them. And I think it has to do with examine. And then down here, there's an opportunity to very quickly grab their weapon out of here, and then you can right-click on it. Down here somewhere, and you can right-click on it and send it to one of your characters. Or you can swap weapons with it, so you have some useless weapon in your inventory and do it. And that would allow you to get the flail from it. You can also conjure these air elementals and do it that way as well, so it's not like you're losing out on it here. I don't know if that trick still works or not, but it was a way to get all 4 of the elemental weapons that you're not supposed to get. Very much like the Deva Mace that you're not supposed to have. Except there, it's a different method than this one. But yeah, it's a shame I can't cast Speak with the Dead on Lorroakan. I can search him. And I wonder... No, it doesn't look like I can. It was seen while this is open. No, I can't. Okay. Well, like I say, that's a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. So, what was Lorroakan wearing? So the first is the Despair of Ethkatla. Now again, the necrotic and psychic damage are coming from Shadowheart. You gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, +2 weapon enchantment, and the topple ability. This is a poor man's Marco Heshkir. Marco Heshkir does all of this, plus gives you Arcane Battery and Kareska's Favor. So there's no reason to keep this at all if you already have Marco Heshkir. And the next thing is the Shelter of Ethkatla. And this, you have advantage on saving throws against spells, which is situationally nice, and allows you to cast Mirror Image. And again, that's it. So not the greatest items for the preeminent living sorcerer in Ramazith Tower. I would have expected more, honestly, from the game. But
let's move.
It is what it is. So what else is here? There are a few other things that you can pick up and search around here. There's a display case, an elixir of sea invisibility.
These boots have seen everything.
Phantasmal Killer. This is a great spell. I love this spell in tabletop. It takes 4d10 psychic damage per turn. It cannot move and has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. It's a concentration spell, so you have to maintain your concentration for it. And it lasts for 10 turns. So very few things are immune or resistant to psychic damage other than the Githyanki. So this is a great spell to have. Like I say, in tabletop, it's amazing. I love it. Okay, we'll keep looking through. Why is my Paladin running all weird? Eye Bite, always a good spell to have. Nothing up here. Meklar just has a dagger and then a couple more display cases. And now from here, Okay, there are some other things that you can pick up on these. I believe one of these has... another chest, and it does. That has some more potions in it. So here, looks like he tried to apply to a journal, and they rejected his submission. So, or Lorroakan. Okay, now, again, I don't think there's anything on any of the balconies. We looked at, there's not. Okay. So from here, we can take the portal back to Sorcerous Sundries. And in here, everyone is blissfully ignorant of the fact that Lorroakan is dead, even his projections. So that means that you can still...
Welcome back to Sorcerous Sundries. How can I help you?
Lorroakan's illusion is blissfully unaware of its caster's demise, but remains bound to its duties.
So you can still trade here.
Feast your eyes.
With his projection. And that's a good thing. Like I say, off stream, I'm probably going to buy a bunch of disintegrate scrolls and that sort of stuff, because we want to have a bunch of these for what we're going to be doing next week, which is our encounter with Raphael. And having disintegrate scrolls for that is very, very useful. Simply because, again, resistance to force damage is very rare in the game. So for now, I'm going to kind of hold off on selling him any more things until I do that. I've got so much gold that I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to pull a respec on one of my characters and come back here, level up, buy some more, level up, buy some more, and go all the way through it. Because I think I have something... like 31,000 gold in the bank, plus another 11,000 here. So I have plenty of gold for my needs. And I could also go through and sell a bunch of camp supplies and all that sort of stuff. I got 4,700 worth of them. I could also sell off a bunch of stuff that I've got in here. You know, there's a bunch of items here that I've just collected that I'm never going to use that I could sell off as well. So, but I don't think we're going to need that many scrolls. But I will come back and do them. So what we're going to do here to end the episode, though, is we're going to take a long rest. And that's because, one, we need it, but two, we want to get back to camp. Actually, let's see, because if we're going in there next week, okay, so... Okay, so this is level 2 spell slots, level 1, and level 4. There's a level 3. Okay, so we have a bunch of these. So we're probably going to use these here, because we want to have the deal, or we want to have the... interaction with the necromancy of Thay. So for Astarion, we're going to bring back Baldur Aluv so that he can use the Sing ability. Shadowheart is going to get, we'll see if it's in here or if it's in my pack. I think it's in my camp. It is.
What am I to do?
So the Safeguard Shield is in here somewhere. Right here. This is a +1 to saving throws for her. The Cloak of Protection is on here. That will give her +1 to saving throws. Now my Paladin needs to be able to cast Bless, but there's a couple of ways I can get Bless, and one of them is through the Staff of Arcane Blessing. I'm looking for it. Here it is. That will allow me to cast Bless without having to use something to get the spell slot back. And then Gale can cast Resistance because it's a cantrip. Shadowheart needs to cast Beacon of Hope. And she can cast it as a level 6 spell. So I think that gets us everything we need to be able to do this. We don't want to do this in camp because we need everybody grouped up. Okay, so one last look at Shadowheart, and remember, we do have an inspiration now, in case we do fail this. So right now her saving throws are +14, and she needs to pass a 20. So she's going to get 1d4 from Baldur Aluv. She's going to get advantage on it from Beacon of Hope. She's going to get 1d4 from Bless, and then 1d4 from Resistance. So she can't fail it because she'd be at 14, 15, 16, 17. So I guess yeah, she could. She can still roll double 1s or double 2s or combinations of those two and still fail it. So let's go and get everything prepped now, and for that we're going to let's go into turn-based mode.
All's well that ends. Not as bad as
we'll cast Bless. We will have Astarion Thing. We will have Gale cast Resistance. And we will have Shadowheart cast Beacon of Hope. And now I will have her read the Necromancy of Thay.
The book radiates power, but the words you read in the Codex echo in your mind, guiding your eyes safely across the page. The once indecipherable glyphs now feel dangerous.
Here it is.
Familiar, promising unholy power to those who can.
Oh, I forgot. We got advantage from Thoroughly Stuffed. Forgot about that. So good, we didn't need to use our inspiration.
As you pass the strange glyphs, you can feel the book resisting. Ghostly voices whisper at you from the dark, probing and fighting your mind. But your will is iron, and you brush past these shades of the past, devouring every secret the book has to offer. You see now life and death are malleable as clay, to be bent and reshaped by your will, by your power. But as you close the book, a nagging doubt whispers in your mind. What consequences will there be for calling the dead from their rest?
Okay, and that's going to basically complete all of the Search the Cellar quest, which happened all the way back in Act 1. We have now deciphered the final page of the Necromancy of Thay. Okay. Now, what does that final page give us? It gives us the Dance Macabre, and we'll go ahead and exit turn-based mode. It gives us the Dance Macabre, and you can cast this once per long rest.
Have to keep pushing. Stories, get them right here.
Okay, and the Dance Macabre allows you to create 4 ghouls that fight alongside you, and they last until long rest or until they die. Okay, and they are regular ghouls like you would expect to see. Now, the thing about ghouls, remember, is... again, they don't show it. But ghouls having the ability to stun people as an attack is incredibly useful. So having them fight alongside you can be a big help in certain situations. Also, being able to tank damage from multiple sources and that sort of stuff. And it seems a little fitting that Szarr, a Dark Justiciar, follower of Szarr with all of her necrotic damage that she's doing and that sort of stuff, would be able to gain some benefits from having them around. But it's once per long rest, so once I take my long rest, I'm going to get that back. So
let's get going.
I think that gets us a good point to stop things. What I'm going to do off stream is, again, do some more inventory management. I'm going to go pick up a few more scrolls that I had mentioned, so I'm going to do a respec, go back, pick up some scrolls, and I'm going to come back here to this spot and get ready to take a long rest. And we will start off our next week's live stream with a long rest and a couple of conversations that go along with it. And then we are going to head out to the Devil's Fee. We now need to complete or figure out how we want to resolve the deal that we made with Raphael. And hint, we're going to break that deal. And as part of it, while we're there, we're going to pick up some stuff from him and from the House of Hope that's going to be very useful for us as we continue on with getting to Orin, which will be that final part. So if I had to guess, we are probably... well, we will have this playthrough completed within 4 more live streams. I'm guessing it's probably going to be 3 live streams, but just to be on the safe side, I will say 4. So we are rapidly coming to the end of our Paladin playthrough, and I think it's been a good one so far. We still have some really good stuff to be able to show off. But we've seen some really interesting choices for some of these characters to make, and I'm happy we've been able to play through it this way. So, as always, thank you all for being here today. Your support is invaluable to the channel, because as I've always said, without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.